Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. Tonight, we are going to be discussing some really exciting things. Lots has happened ever since the last stream. It's been a little while, too, of course. First, I just do want to make sure everyone can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. So, in case you missed it, which if you did, I don't know how you did, Six Flags and Cedar Fair are merging together. Something I never expected to see happen in my lifetime, but it's happening. So we're going to be talking a lot about that merger because it's mind-blowing, truly. So first, I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves, of course, and share just one little bit that surprises you about the merger.
Are we in an order
here? There I am.
Whatever order you want to go.
All right. For me, I think it was just how quickly it came out and then it happened. Because, like, for years and years, we've heard, oh, one's trying to buy the other one, or they're in talks for this or the other. And all of a sudden, we hear it 3 days ago, and then literally by the next day, it's already complete and done. It's like,
who are you?
Where did that come out of nowhere?
You didn't introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm hoping they can read, but yeah. Bob at BK Photo Page.
Hello, I'm Jack. And I think, I don't know, what surprised me the most about the merger is that it was like a complete merger. It's not necessarily one taking over the other. Like there's some, Zimmerman, CEO of Cedar Fair, will be the CEO of the new company, but Six Flags is keeping some of its leadership team as well. I'm just really interested to see how it plays out in terms of like the day-to-day experience, like what from Cedar Fair's operational perspective will come to Six Flags and what from Six Flags operations will come to Cedar Fair, or if they'll try to roll out completely new things to all of it at once. Chris, you're up.
Hey guys, this is Baking Chris here, and yes, I heard about this Six Flags and Cedar Point merging together. I don't know what to say about it. Sometimes it's good to have Peanuts, Looney Tunes, DC. I imagine that if Cedar Fair owns, I know they're not going to change the Six Flags, but if it wasn't a Six Flags Parks, Six Flags Great Adventure would be called New Jersey's Great or Jersey's Great Adventure.
Or just Great Adventure.
A Six Flags Park. But with that, hi guys, Sammy Treychak here from Built to Thrill. What's going on, everybody? What do I have to say about it? All I know is my mom came into my room at 7 a.m. saying, "Are you fired?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think." But yeah, I don't know what's going. No one's gonna know what's gonna actually happen until like 2025. So I don't have a lot to say.
Well, that's part of the merger. They in the traded Sammy off to Cedar Point.
Yeah, guys, see me at Top Thrill 2 next year. See you guys there. What do we call it? A Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast, Cedar Point Edition?
I would say the merger is dependent entirely on Sammy's willingness to go work at Valley Fair. That would be pretty good. But I guess I'll go. Hail, Tom's Tracks 99. It's where I don't post anything. But I'm very surprised that this actually happened. Like Bob said, after years of the rumors, it actually is finally in the process of happening, like concretely. And I am shocked that there will be like a 50-50 split in the corporate leadership, so to speak. So I really hope we get the best of both chains, because I think some things are done well by one chain versus another. I just hope we get the best of both, and it'll take some time before we see these changes, but I'm really excited, yes, but more so interested just to see how this all shakes up.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of different layers to this merger, lots of different things to unpack, and we're going to go through all of it in the stream, get everyone's opinions, because I know we all have opinions on every aspect of it. So first, I want to go over what we think is going to happen with the branding of the parks. Do you guys think that they're going to take a Six Flags of the 2000s approach and throw Six Flags over everything? Or you think they're going to be a little more conservative and still have the Six Flags branding present, but nowhere near as prevalent as it is right now?
I think what I talked to you about yesterday briefly was like, I think it'll be like Cedar Point, a Six Flags theme park in small lettering underneath or something like that. Kind of like they do. They don't call it Six Flags Frontier City or like that, or you know what I mean? Like, I think that it'll be prevalent, but like not over the top. I was having a conversation earlier with a friend of mine, and he was talking about like how we both kind of hope that it's, you think about like something like Yum Brands, right? You got KFC, you got Taco Bell, you have Pizza Hut, and that. And it's like, I hope they take that, and they're all, you know, they're pulling from the same resource pool. They have the same like high upper management, but they still allow the brands to be the brands and the parks to be the parks, just under the corporate umbrella with a shared vision now, rather than two different, completely opposite philosophies in terms of everything both companies were doing beforehand.
Sometimes with the two different brands, when I first heard about this announcement, I felt a bit puzzled and a bit confused. I don't know what. I mean, there probably might be some good to this, where you don't have to. Maybe we'll pay for one platinum pass to visit all those parks too.
Yeah, I think in regards to the naming of the parks, I'd agree with Bob. It's probably just going to be like Kings Island, a Six Flags theme park or something. Or it's possible they might not even add Six Flags to the name at all. It might just be that, who knows? They might just have it in some branding, but not even in the main name. Like, I highly doubt they would change like Carowinds or Cedar Point to have anything in their name other than that. Not that it hasn't happened before. I mean, we had like Paramount Carowinds, but like, who knows? I just think the Six Flags brand, in a lot of people's eyes, is looked under as less quality than the Cedar Fair brand, more in like the general public's eyes. And so I think they wouldn't be, even though Six Flags has significantly improved recently and like is really pushing to be more of a leading, I mean, pretty much like the leading name. And now Six Flags as a company will be the leading theme park chain in the world, essentially. But I don't think that the name Six Flags being added to stuff would increase the value of any of the Cedar Fair parks. So I just think that they'll stick to their current names.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Jack here. I think that we're not gonna see like the name really get added. I think we'll see a couple little prints in the parks, like banners being like, "Oh, Six Flags theme park." Ooh. What I'm hoping is that like parks like Great Adventure, Magic Mountain, it's just they're gonna take off at Six Flags Great Adventure. It's gonna be Great Adventure, a Six Flags theme park. I'm hoping it'll be kind of something like that, so people will start recognizing the park rather than the name of the company. But then again, I don't know. My big question is: are we going to see Fright Fest? Are we going to see Halloween Haunt? Like, what's the name of that going to end up being?
Another thing is, not to cut off Tom, but
it's okay.
The water parks. Six Flags has Hurricane Harbor, and Cedar Fair recently purchased all the Schlitterbahn parks. And who knows? Maybe they'll rebrand the Schlitterbahn parks to Hurricane Harbors or vice versa. But
they probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for some parks versus others to have the name change. Another one no one's brought up, that like they're not changing the name of Knott's Berry Farm, even if it was like Knott's a Six Flags park. Things like it's its own thing. So I think some of those, like, you'll see the changes. Sammy, it's a good point. I think it'd be interesting if they brought back like just Magic Mountain, just Great Adventure. You can tell, especially around here, like who's local, because the locals tend to call it Great Adventure, and the not so local people tend to call it Six Flags. So I think that would be interesting, but makes sense for some parks more than others for sure.
I also heard a rumor of them dropping 4 parks, but all 4 parks are in the Six Flags chain.
Then there's that question. I have my theories on what gets dropped and not.
I heard it's going to be 4, most likely.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. I want to try to
let's
keep
not
it
jump the
topic-based.
gun.
But with regard to this, I think there's a couple different ways they can go. For one, the fact that they're keeping the company name as Six Flags kind of tells me that they do want to utilize that branding to its max potential. If they decided to go with something like Cedar Flags or Cedar Fair as opposed to that, I think they would probably go in a different direction. But I do think they're going to try to leverage that Six Flags branding as much as they can across the parks. But at the same time, they could also take an approach like something like Premier Parks or Parques Venudos, where they don't necessarily attach their brand name to their parks. They kind of let them have their own identity. So I think we're going to see a mix of both of those, because Cedar Fair, they definitely let their parks have their own identities, but they also had the corporatized logos where all the fonts were the same and everything. So you could definitely tell they were all associated with each other. So I think it's going to be really curious, really interesting to watch happen. I do hope that Six Flags changes the logo to be something more Cedar Fair-esque, where it's not so like flashy and in your face, because it kind of has a reputation of not necessarily being great among most people. Meanwhile, Cedar Fair seems like more refined and higher quality. So I think it's definitely going to be interesting. I do think Sammy's point of making the Six Flags parks go to like Great Adventure Six Flags Park, that would be huge, because it's going to allow the parks to build their own identity as opposed to just being a Six Flags park. It seems like the direction, at least on Six Flags' part, and Cedar Fair too, with certain parks, that they want to make their parks destinations. And if you're going to make your park a destination, you have to give it its own identity. And by just throwing Six Flags over all the parks, that's not going to happen. So I think they should definitely focus on having the parks have their own identity, not necessarily throwing Six Flags branding all over it. But that's just my take.
Six Flags is also the better. Oh, sorry, you got it.
I was just going to say the other side of that, though, is that the Six Flags is a much more recognizable corporation than Cedar Fair was. Like,
that's what I was going to say.
Everybody knows who Six Flags is. People don't necessarily know who Cedar Fair is outside of enthusiasts and people in the know. But
like
most
they know it as Cedar
Flags.
Point. They know
Right,
Cedar Point, but not Cedar Fair.
Exactly.
That's basically what I was going to say.
Chris, we can't hear you. Chris?
Do we have subtitles maybe for him?
Chris, could you move your mic so that it's not blocked? I think you might have it sitting on something.
Oh, sure.
What the?
Sorry, I just. Okay.
You could probably just turn your phone sideways.
Yeah. Oh, I can do that?
Perfect.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Sorry about that. I was going to say, what I was actually going to say about Six Flags is that Six Flags is about clonable, and so that people don't have to travel far to go to. For some of the rides, they clone them just so people don't have to travel far to go ride Batman the Ride, Superman, the Joker, and Goliath, and Justice League.
I think it's going to make for a lot more partnerships, too, between the close parks, like, Great Adventure in Dorney and Magic Mountain and Knott's and things like that. They can do a lot more stuff now together as well.
Like
the rivals that get along.
Like, I think SeaWorld Orlando and Busch Gardens Tampa, they did a 2-day ticket for a while.
Yeah, they still do.
They still do?
do.
Yeah, I thought they did. But that's huge for them because they're not that far, and it's about the same distance from Dorney and Great Adventure, if not closer.
So that brings me into my next, I guess, subtopic here. What do you guys think the addition pattern for this new company is going to be? How often do you think parks will get rides? What type of rides will we see? What manufacturers do you think we'll see? We'll start with Bob and go down the line.
I think it's going to depend on how financially they do it first as well. I mean, obviously this isn't going to go into effect next. I mean, it's going to get put into place next year, but it's not going to really start until the year after that. And they might be really hesitant at first to spend big until they see how it works financially across the board and things like that. I mean, it's a weird question because you talk about like how, for a long time it was Six Flags didn't work with B&M for a while, right? For quite a bit. And obviously Cedar Fair hasn't really worked with Intamin in quite a while. So now that you're together, it's like, all right, how are we going to manage who gets what and what companies we're working with and things like that? I just think it's going to be a matter of seeing how things work out. I want to see how they.
I think they're going to work with everyone.
I think they will too. I just think that like I want to see how it ends up getting structured from the corporate level and then on down in terms of because they're not going to. I mean, it's both companies had it similar in certain ways, like the way the management was, but I think they're going to very much streamline that and make it, especially when you have like two close parks like that. Are they going to have a PR guy for both parks or one person between the two and things like that? You know what I mean? Our faithful leader left, so somebody has to talk now.
You're up, Jack.
I think it's just it'll allow for more diversity in all the parks in terms of like, you know, I mean, this year we're seeing a Vekoma coming to Great Adventure, and we're seeing Zamperla being worked on by Cedar Point, and they've both recently worked with B&M, and I mean, there's just I think it'll only, if anything, open up more opportunities for like the possibility that a Six Flags park could get a coaster from Zamperla or something, while it could mean that Cedar Fair could be getting a new gen Vekoma at some point in the future, just because, you know, the corporations have good relationships when they're constantly working with each other, while when they haven't worked with each other in a while, it's possible they don't have the best relationship. But yeah, I think if anything, it'll just see more different stuff being added rather than yeah.
Chris?
Oh,
Bacon Chris.
oh yeah. So with Six Flags happening, I mean, Great Adventure and Dorney Park. Well, basically, Dorney Park is getting a B&M coaster, Iron Menace, and basically, I think they'll be with basically the Iron Menace train is actually the same seat sizing as like Dr. Diabolical a bit. And it's been a while since Six Flags has worked with B&M, yeah. Like last year or two. That was 2022, right? When Dr. Diabolical's cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So basically they're getting Dorney Park's getting the idea from Dr. Diabolical. And see, that's probably one thing. I mean, with Six Flags hasn't been doing much with B&M. I think Six Flags has been doing more cloning rides, Cedar Fair, the originals.
See, I think that every other year we are going to see, like, once they kind of like kick into high motion, like this mega company that they're doing, I think we're going to see a humongous coaster every other year. When I say humongous, I mean like Top Thrill 2 level, Orion level, Fury level, something like that, because now they have this money to spend. And then I think every year we will see two decently sized coasters being like Iron Menace or Flash, like something like that. And then two kids coasters like Kid Flash Cosmic Coaster. And then like some like any like the family or like kids coasters. And then I think over the board every year we will see 7 flat rides. And that could be a Nebulas, that could be a dark ride, like that could be anything. But
That's not enough.
It might not be, but now we're talking like that means that they could be having the possibility of 5 coasters and 7 flat rides. How many parks is that? That's what?
There's 26, 27 parks.
There's 27, and that's about half.
I think that if they aren't able to adopt a business model where every park gets something, that's going to be an issue. Or at least almost every park gets something. You still need to have these big anchor attractions, and that's the direction we see Six Flags starting to go in slowly but surely. Of course, judging off of what Salim said in the interview. And Cedar Fair has been doing it for a while. Seems like they're kind of scaling back a little bit now. But if we can find a merge point between the two where there's constant giant coaster additions in addition to stuff that the other parks need, I think that'll be great, because not having stuff spread around is going to be a big issue.
I want to see if, like, are they willing to do this Falcon's flight level roller coaster over here?
No.
Like, you never know at this point. They have a lot of money to spend.
Yeah, but there's not oil money over here like there is over there. Over there, it's pretty much people who have made a fortune off of their industry, and they're just spending it on that for the hell of it. Over here, we don't really have that. The economy, obviously, the whole reason they're merging is because the economy isn't doing too great right now. So to spend that kind of money on something like that, it just makes no sense financially.
Yeah, but to me, it could be just as expensive if you were going to put a ton of big roller coasters and a ton of flat rides in. Like, assuming they keep every park, which is, it's about 40, right? I mean, that includes water parks, right? That they would own 40 properties. Okay, so, like, I think what you could see is, like, parks be put into groups, so to speak. So, like, on, like, a couple years rotation, like, this set of parks, one or two of them get, like, a big coaster, and the rest get flats. So, like, on a rotating basis, it's this chunk of parks is getting these things, and then the next year it could be another, however they want to do it. I think we are past now the days of every park getting something just because sheer volume. Even if it's a cheaper thing, it's just a lot of money.
I think that that would make a lot of sense, especially if those were broken up by region. Like, let's say the Northeast, if there's Six Flags New England, Dorney, Great Adventure, and I don't know. I feel like
Six Flags America.
Six Flags America and King's Dominion. Like, if you just basically took the whole East Coast and said that one of them would get a park, or one of them would get a coaster every year, like one of those 6 or 7 parks. Meanwhile, in the Midwest, you have it'd probably be broken up into smaller territories, but like the Midwest.
Sorry, I was just coughing.
It's okay.
No worries.
Six Flags Great America, Cedar Point, Kings Island would all, maybe one of them get a big thing, and then in theory that would draw crowds. Like that year, a big new addition at Cedar Point could push people more towards Cedar Point than, let's just say, Great America. Same thing in the Northeast. Like if Dorney gets a big addition like they are next year, I mean, Great Adventure is too, but like Dorney probably will get a little bit more of a crowd boost compared to Six Flags America, which isn't getting anything.
True. I think overall it's going to be very interesting to see how it all pans out, because there's just a lot of different directions they can go in. Same can be said about IP. And the reason I'm emphasizing that is because the calls and the press releases and everything have heavily emphasized the fact that they're going to have this war chest of IP they can use across the portfolio. So I'm really curious what you guys think this means for the parks. Are we going to see coasters at Cedar Point start being themed to Batman and Superman, or are they going to be a little more conservative with it?
I don't see them renaming anything at Cedar Point or touching that much at the Cedar Fair parks at all. With new stuff, yes, but I don't see them retrofitting themes onto old stuff unless they do like how they converted Mantis to Rougarou. I could see them, if they do something like that, I could see them theming that, but I don't see them taking well-known rides already that are beloved by people and changing them.
More theming to DC, Looney Tunes, and Peanuts will probably lead into more money, for the companies to pay.
Also more money, for them to spend on the licensing.
I think it'd be interesting if we were to see like the kids areas get rethemed in some of them. Like imagine if Bugs Bunny National Park became like Camp Snoopy, and then or let's say like Junior Thrill Seekers became Planet Snoopy and Bugs Bunny National Park stayed Bugs Bunny. Then you have 2 different kids IPs in one park.
That's what I thought they'd do.
Yeah, like that would make, I feel like for families, like having 2 different IPs would make it a little more appealing. Like, oh, I can go meet the Peanuts over on this side of the park, or I can go to the other side of the park and meet the Looney Tunes.
I mean, the one thing that doesn't make sense about the theming when it comes to Six Flags and Cedar Fair parks is that basically DC, it makes sense for Six Flags to have both DC and Looney Tunes, because they're both owned by Warner Brothers, and Peanuts are owned by Charles Schultz.
I agree with Jack. I think in parks where you have multiple kids areas, it'd be interesting if they brought in the other company's IP for one of those. I don't think you are going to see anything like you're not going to get like, maybe not for the time being, you're not going to get a Batman ride at a former Cedar Fair park or things like that. I think it'd be really funny if they tried, but I don't see it happening for at least for a little bit. I don't think if one chain is going to get something IP from another, I think it's going to be on something new rather than retrofitting something existing. But the kids areas, I think it would be an easy enough switch.
Yeah, I think one specific park that I could see getting a kids area switched is like Cedar Point might end up switching like Kitty Kingdom or something to be Bugs Bunny National Park or
I mean, you figure that's the one area of the park that's due for a massive upgrade in the near future too, because that hasn't been touched in years. So I could totally see that happening.
Yeah.
I think so too, you know. But another thing when it comes to theming, so
What was that?
so sorry. When it comes to theming a bit, you gotta go by the same company. Like for example, at Universal, sometimes sometimes I think it doesn't make sense to have two different themes from different companies, like having Mickey Mouse and Marvel. Oh wait, it does make sense to have Marvel at a Disney theme park because Disney purchased Marvel. No wonder why the iconic mouse, he doesn't have cheese in his house. He has lots of money, so that's why he bought Marvel. Because I see at Universal, you know, they have Seuss Landing, and you know, Illumination made Dr. Seuss films such as The Lorax and Grinch, which probably makes sense why it's by Universal. You know, they did that.
I think IPs will stay the same for a decent amount of time up until probably like we're looking at like 2027 now. And I think we're really not going to see, like, especially in the Cedar Fair parks, which are already well developed, unless they want to do like a massive like brand new expansion area. I don't really think we're going to see a lot of like the DC characters. Maybe like a dark ride, kind of like a Universal would be kind of cool. I don't know. But overall, I think we could see definitely a couple Camp Snoopies, and then I think we'll see like a couple like Bugs Bunny Boomtowns and things like that. But overall, I think it's going to primarily stay the same for the time being.
So the way I look at it, Cedar Fair, in my opinion, has been doing the best job with theming rides to unique non-IP related things. And seeing this happen kind of like undoes all of that progress. Personally, I absolutely hate all the IP. I think it's much better to see more original themes. Like you look at Cedar Point, for example, I think that's a great example with Frontier Town. Frontier Town is one of my favorite areas of any park because it has a story. It's set up well. It's themed well. Same thing with Jungle Expedition at King's Dominion and Blue Ridge Junction at Carowinds. Like really cool themes that have nothing to do with anything you already know. And my biggest issue with the Six Flags parks with their DC theming is, for the most part, they're kind of just willy-nilly with it. They'll plop a Superman here and a Batman here, and it makes no sense. If they're trying to make these parks more premium and have a better experience, look better, feel better, I think the whole goal should be to enhance theming, which, again, Salim said in the interview. So if they are going to do that, I think they should stray away from the IP. I do think Peanuts is a great IP to utilize, same with Looney Tunes. I would be more than happy to see Camp Snoopy come to Great Adventure or other Six Flags parks. Stuff like that I think would be great. But the DC stuff, I personally think they should stray away from unless they're willing to go all out in the way that Disney or Universal would. Believe me, I would love to see like a highly themed, immersive Gotham City at a Six Flags or Cedar Fair park. But it's not going to happen because, at least as of right now, the knowledge we have on these companies, they're not willing to go that far. Even Cedar Fair, I don't know if they could pull off a Gotham City type area at a park or a Metropolis or Central City or anything like that. So personally, I kind of am a little worried about the whole focus on IP with these two companies, but we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. I definitely don't think Cedar Fair is just going to start throwing DC stuff everywhere because They have no reason to. They have a bunch of very recognizable rides. I personally think Six Flags should focus on consolidating their DC areas into one section of the park and let the rest of the areas of the park be more unique. I think Great Adventure has a unique opportunity there where there's a couple things they can do to kind of unite the whole park with their DC theming. You have Joker and Harley Quinn, which really can't be connected too well to Metropolis, but Superman and Green Lantern, you could build a bridge over the front entrance and connect it to Metropolis if you really wanted to, or just retheme Superman and Green Lantern to something else and put better rides up that are themed to those characters. But that's just my opinion on that one. So next up, I'd like to talk about passes. So obviously both companies have fairly similar pass structures, at least now they do. Six Flags has gone through a whirlwind of changes ever since Salim came into office, but I think they finally settled on what they like. Of course, now they're going to have to change it again because they're merging with Cedar Fair. So I want to know what you guys think the direction is going to be with the passes. If you think we're going to see passes by region, passes for every park in the chain. I'm really curious what you guys think.
Hopefully they'll keep the benefits of the season pass, such as the skip the line passes, because if they got rid of it, then, you know, people would be very disappointed and stuff. And even the guest tickets and, you know, fast pass water parks and stuff too.
Yeah, I think with passes, it's definitely going to be quite interesting because they have they're sort of heading towards a more closely related pass model now than they were. Like back when Six Flags was heavily focused on the memberships, it was at that point Cedar Fair only had like the platinum pass, the gold pass, and sometimes there was just a season pass at certain parks. Actually, I think every park had just a season pass or a silver pass at Cedar Point or something along those lines. But now that there's like the prestige passes, there's a lot more tiers. Six Flags has moved away from the memberships and now just has like the platinum passes and the diamond passes. I think it won't be that difficult for them to change. It'll obviously be on the technical side of things, there will have to be like a change. I don't think any of this will be implemented next season. I think starting in 2025, we might see when people renew their passes for that year, you'll get a pass and it'll then use the same technology as the other chain. But until then, I think the biggest thing would be like that for next year, I don't think you'll be able to visit Dorney Park with your Six Flags pass because they've already sold Cedar Fair passes and they've already sold Six Flags passes. And I don't think they would add the perks for the same price of basically double the parks. And so I think if there ends up being a pass that gets to all 40 or whatever parks in a year or so, that's going to be much more expensive. Like we've been seeing the passes go up in price already. I think what some people have suggested in terms of regional passes might be a thing, like the current level of Platinum Pass. Maybe that'll get you to like Cedar Point, Kings Island, Great America, Valley Fair, anything else in that area, like maybe Six Flags St. Louis. And then you could buy the Prestige Pass, let's say they call it that, and that would get you to every Cedar Fair and Six Flags Park Six Flags Park in North America. So I think it would probably make the most sense to be regional because they know the people living in New Jersey most of the time aren't going to go travel to California to visit a theme park.
Unless you're me.
Yeah, not unless you're us. But like having a pass that works for Great Adventure and Dorney Park, even just those two parks would be amazing.
Yeah, I could see them doing that, like the Ohio pass for the two Ohio parks, the Texas pass for the two Texas parks, stuff like that, or a regional thing. But I mean, I think it would make sense to couple the parks that are close together like that into a bundle of some sort. Not necessarily the Midwest region, but like, you know what I mean? Like Worlds of Fun and, you know, Six Flags Great America or something, you know, St. Louis and that triangle there, whatever. I could totally see them doing that. It's going to be interesting to see how they do it, but I think you're right. I think if they do a full on pass for all the parks, it'll be $400-$500, I'm guessing.
I'm interested to see what benefits come with it, because Cedar Fair didn't give too much away with the pass, next to nothing. A bit like Six Flags for a time, especially with the memberships, they were giving away everything for nothing. So I think we're definitely going to see it come more toward the middle. I'm interested to see, will there be an all parks pass? And like, I agree, Bob. I think it's going to be at least $500 because they can charge that. That's like we'd probably, all of us would probably get our money's worth for it. But like what would come with it? Like, if anything other than just admission and parking, like, will dining be an add-on like at Cedar Fair? Will it be like with memberships where it's like a small add-on like in the Six Flags days, or like what will that look like? Is there a pass option with that built in? Like they're gonna have to find a balance between giving nothing away and giving everything away. But it should be interesting, and I do not think our memberships, for those of us who have them, are gonna last. I don't think. I think the days are numbered, and we are not going to see them until December 31st, 2100, or whatever, like the days it expires. We are not going to get that far.
Yeah, I unfortunately agree with Tom here. I think our days are very numbered right now.
Enjoy it while you can.
2024, I think it's going to be the last year. That's going to be my guess. If we get it to 2025, hooray, hoorah! It's been a great day. But by 2026, they're gone. And I think what they're going to end up doing is it'll probably be like a 125 for your park, and then you can add this park for this much and add this park for this much. And I kind of hope it's like that where you can choose your park, but I don't know how it's going to be. It's probably going to be like a $500, $600 pass, honestly.
Yeah, maybe like 200 and some too.
No way. If it's under 300, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think, well, right now a platinum pass is like, for Cedar Fair, whatever, like for 2023. I didn't buy one for 2023.
It was like 230, I think.
Yeah, it was somewhere between 200 and 300. So it's gonna be.
It's closer to 4 if you're getting the dining and drink add-ons.
Well, yeah,
too.
I have all that, but the pass itself was like 230.
I wonder how those add-ons will work, like with drink add-ons, because I love the Cedar Fair plan personally.
I do too. It's fantastic.
The option to not carry a cup all day is great.
Yeah, and so
apparently. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it'd be great if they implemented that plan to the Six Flags parks.
So I know at Great Adventure, I don't know about this at like any other parks, but if you go up to someone and say, "I don't have my cup" or whatnot, they have to they look at they scan your pass, they look at your pass to make sure you have unlimited refills, and they give you a cup. They technically have to do that.
But that also means you have to have the human interaction, and maybe the worker doesn't know, and then you have to get the supervisor. There's always that risk.
Yeah. Another thing, I don't know if you have it as a topic later, Colin, but in terms of Fast Pass, like Flash Pass.
Not put that in there, so yeah.
Yeah. Flash Pass versus Fast Lane.
Fast Lane.
I mean, yeah. I think Fast Lane is better, but and I hope that it gets implemented. But I think implementing Fastlane with some of the crowds of like parks and how Flash Pass works at Great Adventure, like having just an unlimited wristband where anyone could go, when now you have to wait like 120 minutes on the app if you buy
I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a minute. Look at a ride like Steel Vengeance. That gets a Fast Pass line sometimes of 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you really want the fast lane? Like, personally, I'd rather have to schedule the ride, go to the ride, and know that I'm going to get right on.
I think they should implement I think it would be a good opportunity for them to implement a new system to all of the parks that copies more of what like Disney does in terms of not exactly like how Disney Genie works, but similar in that it's a much more streamlined reservation system. Because Six Flags, there's a lot of like loopholes and flaws in its Flash Pass mobile system. And Cedar Fair, you can just walk on any ride, not walk on necessarily. It builds up a big queue. But if it was managed a little better, you could make it work a little better and make more money.
I remember Hershey Park. I was at Hershey Park last time, and I used the fast track line. All you do is just scan and go. But I think for Six Flags, you have to wait a couple minutes, and then you can come back when you're ready.
It is the better of the two systems between that and Flash Pass for sure.
In certain cases, like at Kings Island, for example, Fastlane is phenomenal.
Yes, it saved us
point,
when we
it
went.
kind of sucks. So yeah, I
It's
am curious
fabulous.
though what you guys think. Do you guys think that they're going to go more for Cedar Fair's pricing model, which is a little higher than Six Flags, or do you think they're going to go for Six Flags, which is a little cheaper, gets more guests in, which at the same time kind of contradicts Salim's vision where he wants less people in the parks and a more premium experience, which of course includes higher prices. So do you guys think the price point is going to be like higher, lower? What do you guys think that's going to wind up looking like?
I think it's going to be higher because basically the lower with more guests, basically they want to have short lines. So in order to have short lines, then they got to make money off. They got to charge more for Fast Pass.
I think the pricing will be somewhere in the middle. Like, I think Cedar Fair charges a little much for what they give, and it's gotten less with Six Flags, but they charge under for what they give. I think when you have like a upper management group split between both chains, like I think you'll see more of a balance. Like, but no matter what the price is, whether it be low, high, whatever, it will be more proportionate, I think, to what you get with those passes.
It's probably just gonna be the same, honestly. Like, I don't see them changing much about the pricing.
So if you think it's going to be the same, do you think the Cedar Fair parks are going to stay at their price points and the Six Flags parks are going to stay at theirs, or they're going to match each other?
I think it'll probably end up being somewhere in the middle, but like honestly, they do prices park dependent. So like it's probably already
yeah.
like pretty like
I think
you're not
I think
gonna
they're
sorry,
going to
go
give them autonomy, is what they're going to do. I think they're going to let the parks. They're going to set it themselves, but they're going to set it based on the obviously the attendance of those parks and the area of those parks, things like that. I think they're going to give their parks some autonomy and stuff like that.
That actually brings up another good point. Do you guys think that all of these parks now, they're going to be more corporatized and be very stringent to what corporate says they can and cannot do? Or do you think the parks individually will have more freedom? Like back in the day when I believe it was Warner Brothers or Comcast, whichever one it was, owned Six Flags, there was a time where the Six Flags, like Great Adventures Park president, was the head of Great Adventures. Corporate didn't really matter. They just owned the park. But he or she did what they wanted to do with the park. So do you guys think that they're going to operate similar to how they are now, where corporate is definitely more in charge, but park presidents have some leverage, or do you think it's going to flip around a little bit?
I mean, there's still going to be rules that they're going to have to follow, but they're going to try to be reasonable too. With what has to be done, what has to not be done with riding and stuff. I mean, with Six Flags Great Adventure, I mean, they're going to probably have to deal with like walk-ons, not just walk-ons, but long lines and stuff. What do you guys think?
Bob?
I was daydreaming. Sorry, skip me.
Any thoughts on that?
I was also dreaming. What was the question?
Oh my lord, that's such a good question.
Dude, Jack Hughes got hurt. This is very important.
So, do you guys think that the parks are going to be more corporatized in the way that they're run?
Oh, we're on this one. Okay.
Or they're going to have more autonomy?
I hope they get the autonomy to do what they want because honestly, per region, like it makes more sense to do something catered to your individual market versus like a one size fits all. Like, oh, let's just dump like this 4D free spin into everything, or let's give everyone a giant discovery. Like, I hope we move away from that. I don't think we will as quick as I would like to see that happen, but it would be interesting, like just to see the parks be able to do whatever suits them best. Like, I think then you'll start to see parks get things better catered to gaps in their lineup and what the regular like pass base would want to see. That would be nice.
Yeah, I don't want to see somebody like Jeff Siebert get like hung up by corporate things with how well he runs that park and things like that either. So I hope they do give them some leeway with certain things.
Yeah, I think it would kind of suck if they went corporate. That's like going to a restaurant, bringing your 4 kids there, and ordering their meals for them, and it's all the same meal. Like, why would you want to do that? Like, come on,
True.
just let them pick.
So I do have to bring up a point. I see Chris put this in the chat. He thinks the pricing will be more like the SeaWorld and Busch Gardens parks do. So they have their prices set by park. So like you can get a platinum pass at SeaWorld San Antonio for $200, and the same pass is $400 at Busch Gardens Tampa. Same benefits, same everything, just sold at different parks. So I definitely think that's something we could see too, because you're obviously not going to sell a Frontier City pass for the same amount of money as a Cedar Point or Magic Mountain pass. Just would not make any sense.
I feel like before we can kind of discuss this, like, what parks do we think they're going to be taking off?
That's another good one.
And I think
Sammy, you said you have a couple in mind. Let's hear it.
I overheard 4 that are big possibilities right now. Now that nothing's confirmed, obviously, but these are the 4 that I heard. Actually, no, I'm going to let you guys guess. I'm curious. What do you guys
All
think?
right, well, I'm going to
Wait,
go.
wait. What are we guessing? The parks are going to get rid of?
Are they all Six Flags
so
parks?
It's 4 Six Flags parks.
Six Flags America.
I'm just going to let you guess. I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to
I'm
tell you guys.
going to say Frontier City.
All right, you say Frontier City. I'm going to say America.
Darien
I'm
Lake.
gonna say the Great Escape.
I don't think it's going to be Great Escape or La Ronde, honestly.
Okay.
Tom?
I have a few in mind that I think the chain as a whole is going to get rid of. Like between what was like from Cedar Fair versus Six Flags, I think Dorney might be on the chopping block.
It's all Six Flags.
Well,
The 4
like,
ones that I've heard.
Regardless,
like I'm saying, what belonged to what chain previously before the merger. Like I think a mix of those parks will be going, and I think you could like
CGA.
CGA is on my list. Dorney, and then from Six Flags, I think Frontier City. Or not Frontier City, Darien Lake, and America could be gone. And I just think that's because those regions have a ton of parks, and it makes no sense to keep former competitors together. So I think it'd be interesting to see if other chains came in and built up presences in those regions.
Well, CGA is already gone, basically.
Right, and I
CGA is
think
already over.
the
So I'm
land
not
situation
counting
makes
this
it
in the
easier.
4. But the 4 that I heard are Darien Lake, Frontier City, La Ronde, and Discovery Kingdom.
Discovery Kingdom.
Yeah.
That part was awesome.
Yeah, it was
I
a
don't
great
think
park.
they would. I don't think they would get rid of Discovery Kingdom only because CGA is going away, and then they wouldn't have anything in Northern.
They wouldn't have any competition.
Exactly. There's
Yeah.
no reason for them to get rid of that. America makes a lot more sense. Although America has been so Six Flagsified in the sense that, like, if you sell that park, they're going to deal with so many licensing loopholes and headaches, and because almost the whole park is DC.
They're like doing a good job with America right now. They have Ramar. Ramar's doing a great job. Brian's now regional rep, so he's watching over that park. They're getting Steamtown. They're getting the water coaster. Like, they're doing pretty good right now. Like, I don't see a reason to get rid of them.
Yes, but so is every other park except for like Darien Lake and Frontier City.
I could see Six Flags America leaving because there's already such a presence within that region.
Mm-hmm.
Like before, when it was just Six Flags and that region was Six Flags America in Maryland and Six Flags over Georgia, obviously, it was okay because there's a bit of a gap. But now between them, you also have a property in Virginia. So it's like, what do you keep?
And Carowinds.
And Carowinds too, yeah. So like that's 4 parks relatively close to each other in the same chain. Like, is that a redundancy now? And like of all 4 of those parks, I would sell off Six Flags America, just like in terms of like attendance, size of the park, what the park offers, it's the most expendable.
I think something we're gonna have to consider too going forward with this, like obviously we'll look at Six Flags parks and Cedar Fair parks and be like, all right, they're probably not gonna be more than like 3 or 4 hours away from each other. But now that those parks and their competitors are all together now, I think that distance requirement between parks is shrinking heavily because, yeah, sure, you don't want parks overlapping each other, but there's only so much space for parks throughout the country in, highly populated areas. So you're not going to have like, get rid of this park, get rid of this park. It's a little too close. They're probably going to have a lot of parks that do overlap. I mean, you have Worlds of Fun in St. Louis, for example. I mean, they're not necessarily the best example, but I imagine there's people that live in the dead center and they'll be like, all right, well, do we go here? Do we go there? Great Adventure in Dorney, another great example. Knott's and Magic Mountain, not really as much. They're different, but CGA and Discovery Kingdom, another situation there. So I think they're caring less about the distance because they know regardless the parks do good, even though they exist with each other. Like Great Adventure and Dorney, they both do great, and they both kind of eat away at each other in attendance, but they both still do fine. So I think that the distance is going to matter less as time goes on.
Well, when you were gone earlier for that brief second, what I said was the other thing it allows you to do is it allows you to, like, you could have one PR guy for CGA and for Discovery Kingdom, and you can overlap in that regard too. And you can have employees, if the parks are real close, that can work at both and stuff like that. So it gives you options in that regard too.
Exactly. It consolidates the resources really well.
But wasn't California's Great America supposed to be sold or shut down?
It's getting shut down.
Oh, because, basically that Cedar Fair park, heard it's getting, basically now with Cedar Point Cedar Fair and Six Flags, partnering together, basically they're not going to, this park's going to be set abandoned, and then someone's going to have to buy it.
Well, before this merger was announced at all, CGA was announced to be closing in about like 7 or 8 years, I think, just because, I forget if
it's the stadium. It's the stadium.
It's like the stadium because every time there's a football event, they have to shut down the park. And
Chris, just so you know, the 49ers stadium shares a parking lot with CGA.
Oh, really? Oh, 40.
Yeah, they're right next to each other.
Yeah. So it just causes a lot of issues, and it's like operational headaches. I think it's interesting though that CGA is still actively getting some additions like this year. Like I thought they would just invest nothing, but I don't know. Who knows? It's possible it could not get shut down and some deal could be figured out in the future. But another thing is now that it's owned by Six Flags, I bet we would see Discovery Kingdom, just for logistical reasons, getting some of the stuff from CGA when it closes years down the line.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And another thing I saw someone bring up in the chat. Why am I blanking now? Go ahead, Chris. You were going to say something.
Yeah, and then it will end up like Six Flags New Orleans, except without the hurricane, or Kentucky or Kentucky Kingdom before basically like before it became a non-Six Flags park. And then what happens is after years of closure, someone probably will buy that theme park, and then it will probably open as Northern California's. Well, it will probably still be called California's Great America, but I know it used to be a Paramount Park, and it used to be called Marriott's too.
That park is going to get torn to the ground.
Yeah, I think they're
I
think they're gonna sort of bulldoze the park and turn it into. I wouldn't be surprised if it's
Parking
like
lot.
just a more parking lot and like
housing
and shopping for the city, like a mall. Who knows? I don't know. But
I just remember what I was going to say. I know I saw a lot of people mentioning in the chat. How do you guys think they're going to integrate the events from both parks? Obviously, you have Halloween Haunt or Halloweekends at the Cedar Fair parks, which is wildly successful. And you have Fright Fest at the Six Flags parks, which is also wildly successful. You have Winterfest at the Cedar Fair parks and Holiday in the Park at the Six Flags parks. So do you guys think they're going to borrow more from one rather than the other? Do you think they're going to keep them separated with the Cedar Fair and Six Flags parks? And overall, I'm kind of thinking about this now. Do you think that the Six Flags parks and Cedar Fair parks will slowly mold into a new identity together, or they'll still kind of be separate as the Cedar Fair parks and the Six Flags parks?
It's hard for me to answer, but I think they'll still be separate. But I don't know how separate.
It all depends on what they do with the passes, honestly.
True.
Depends on the activities, such as like Carowinds. Carowinds would have ice skating in the commercial. And then last year, people were excited because because Fury 325 was actually open.
Right. What do you guys think about the events specifically?
It depends on if they want to build like a brand out of one or the other, if that's what they're trying to do. Because they've turned like Haunt and I mean, even though they call it Hollow Weekends at Cedar Point, it's Haunt basically everywhere else for the most part, and they've turned that into their own kind of brand. Same thing with, Six Flags with their stuff and with Holiday in the Park and things like that. So it depends on which way they want to lean. But I think I as much as I want them to keep it separate, I don't think they will. I think they're going to go one way or the other.
I mean, one thing that I'm thinking of is like Not Scary Farm is never gonna not be Not Scary Farm. Like
Yes, agreed.
That's true.
Like also like
Scarowinds.
Yes, Scarowinds. But I think Knott's being the only real theme park of them all, of the whole chain now, it's gonna stay more of its own. But I think it'll just be interesting that with just thinking of Knott's Berry Farm being owned by Six Flags, because like right now, Knott's Berry Farm is not exactly a competitor to Disney, but like it sort of is. It's
It's like an alternative almost.
Yeah, it's like a thrilling alternative to Disney. It's literally right there. But now, but people went to Six Flags Magic Mountain for if they really want like thrills in California. So I don't know. I think they're gonna try to keep the branding, at least for Knott's, the same because it does extremely well, especially with Knott's Scary Farm. Like that's like the premier Halloween event in Southern California.
I think Knott's and Cedar Point are going to keep their names because their names are a living piece of history. Because Cedar Point is actually the second oldest living amusement park in the world.
That's right.
What's number one, Chris?
Lake Compounce in Connecticut.
I'm pretty sure it's what's it
Bakken,
called?
isn't it? Tivoli and Bakken are really old.
Yeah. In the country, it might be though.
Yeah, in the country for sure is.
No, I think Lake Compounce is somewhere.
No, Compounce is the oldest, and then Cedar Point. Yeah.
So another thing I was thinking about too. Do you guys what's the timeline for when we're going to see things actually change at the parks? How long is it going to take? And how significant of changes are we going to see in the parks? Not necessarily new additions, but like just logistical things like operations from an employee standpoint and a guest standpoint. IROC, which I know is a big one. What do you guys think?
I think they're going to start phasing it in at like the second half of next year once the deal goes through slowly. But then I think by 2025, I think it's going to be full-blown new operations and new systems and everything else.
I hope they don't bring back IROC.
Yeah, I figured that.
I really don't. I think it would. We have the best operations because we don't have IROC. It's all safety cert from the park, which is so much better. IROC creates these kind of like stupid rules that like they're not needed.
Another thing too is that Cedar Fair has been very well known in the past to make extra safety precautions that are very unnecessary for the sake of saving on insurance costs, like the seat belts on rides that do not need seat belts, like all their B&M Hypers and Gigas. Six Flags, on the other hand, they don't have any of that. It's pretty minimal over there. So do you guys think we're going to see more of a Cedar Fair approach or a Six Flags approach?
And again, not having IROC also helps maintenance, though, because we have a bigger budget for maintenance and we have lower maintenance costs because we don't have IROC.
I think one thing to think of that's important is that the person who was promoted to the chief integration officer, who's going to technically be in charge of the merger of these companies, is from the Six Flags side. So that could play a key role in like wanting to keep operational stuff more how it run at Six Flags.
I think overall it's just going to be like very, very interesting to see how it pans out. I mean, I still can't like get over the fact that this is real, this is happening. It's just so unbelievable. Like, yeah, oh, what if Cedar Fair or Cedar Point was owned by Six Flags? What if, Great Adventure was owned by Cedar Fair? But no, it's not a dream anymore. It's not a thought. It's a reality. Like, I still can't get that through my head. I mean, it's mind-blowing. It's definitely the biggest event biggest change to happen in the amusement park industry in decades. I mean, there's been nothing on this scale. So I think there's definitely going to be a lot of good, maybe some bad. I trust the team at the top. I mean, of course, as you guys know, I have a great relationship with Salim Basul, who is the current CEO of Six Flags, soon to be the chairman of the board at the new Six Flags, which I think that's going to get a little confusing between the old Six Flags and new Six Flags. And Zimmerman, I know he doesn't necessarily have the greatest reputation, but I think overall he's done a respectable job with managing the Cedar Fair parks. And I don't really know too much about their CFO. I know he's fairly new. I know Gary has done a great job at Six Flags. So I think the company is in good hands. I mean, you're taking what, in my opinion, other than SeaWorld, is the two most successful, most reliable theme park operators and putting all the best ideas together. So let's just hope that all the good things come through and a lot of the bad things that are associated with both chains kind of dissipate, because there's definitely a lot of those across both. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it pans out. And like Tom said, I think Tom said it earlier, or Sammy said it, I don't think the legacy memberships for Six Flags are going to last much longer. I don't think Cedar Fair's system of passes, the new all access or all park access, whatever it's called, the passport, I don't think that'll last much longer either. I think they're all going to be reimagined for the 2025 season. I'm actually currently working on getting an answer from Six Flags about the legacy memberships. I don't think they can really provide that yet, though, just because the merger is still just announced and there's not really enough details on that yet. I'm sure Gary Mick, who's the integration officer, will have all that sorted out eventually, but just be prepared for a lot of changes from a financial standpoint and an admission standpoint, not necessarily in the parks, but everything around them. I think there's going to be a lot of changes. Not now, but soon.
Yeah, here's a question, right? What do we think is going to happen to the apps for these parks? Are they all going to go into the Six Flags one? I have my idea, but what do you guys think?
Six Flags.
Hopefully they'll still have the select your own park cards. I mean, basically with Cedar Points and Dorney Park, their apps were like separate, like for every Cedar Fair parks, while Six Flags, you just select your park, and that makes it easier.
It would be nice to not have to download a different app for every park like you do with the Cedar Fair parks.
Absolutely.
Maybe they redo, like, it's not, like, I'm still struggling to understand, like, so Six Flags owns these parks now, and it's all Six Flags, but, like, do you download, or do you get a new app that just kind of combines the best of everything? Like, who knows? And I just, either way, I hope the solution is every park lives on one app, and you just toggle through a menu and select whatever park it is you're going to.
I agree. I mean, I think both companies' apps, I mean, the Cedar Fair apps, they're basically all the same, just each for a different park. I think they both have major issues of their own. Six Flags, as of late, has been kind of messy on the app, in my opinion. So I think they need to get those sorted out, of course. But like I said, I mean, there's a lot of like logistical things that the companies are going to have to combine or change or something along those lines. It's going to be a very long process. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see a year where not much happens for any of the parks. I think anything that's currently planned, like I know, of course, everyone knows about Great Adventures Rumor 2025 coaster. There's Magic Mountains Rumor 2025 coaster. There's a bunch of other Six Flags parks rumored to get 2025 coasters. I think those are probably too far along the planning process to be removed. And I think the people who put these plans in motion in the first place, being the people from Six Flags Corporate, knew that this is the direction they were going to go in. It's very clear that they had to at least have some notice before this announcement that the merger was going to happen. So I don't think that they would just put all these plans together for the parks. We would find out about them through leaks and whatnot, and then cancel them because of the merger. I think they're probably all going to happen. Taking a look back at like 2006, where Six Flags started to go under bankruptcy and they were canceling all kinds of projects. There were still a few that slipped through the cracks, like Tatsu and El Toro, because they were just too far along to cancel at that point. But then other stuff like Great Adventures Original Giga, that had to get canceled along with a few other projects. So I don't think that's going to happen here. I think whatever's planned already is just going to happen. But I do think stuff is going to kind of slow down for a second so they can get their stuff together, make sure everything is set up right, and then continue to go from there.
I would not be surprised if, correct me if I'm wrong, or actually, Colin, when was the original, like, maybe it was about a year ago, there was an original article that it was in talks that Cedar Fair would purchase Six Flags or something like that.
I think, was that in the 2020s or was that 2019?
It was relatively recent, like last 5 years.
It was within the last 5 years, that's for sure.
was
I think Six
definitely-
Flags was going to buy them.
I'll try to look it
I
up.
thought that was like a year ago.
Yeah, I thought that was like
That was Six Flags with SeaWorld, or SeaWorld with Cedar Fair, one of the two. But I'm pretty sure Six Flags and Cedar Fair was 2019, I think. Either way, it was fairly recent. And just for everyone in the chat, I'm not ignoring you guys. Once we finish our little discussion here about, well, not really little, but our discussion about the Six Flags Cedar Fair merger, I'm going to go back to the top of the chat and read through everyone's comments and everything. So if you have questions, leave them in the chat. We will get to them eventually. We are going to go through the chat a little faster this time around because we spent much longer on our initial discussion than usual. So actually, I might as well just start going through the questions now. What was that, Sammy?
So we're only answering 5 questions.
Wouldn't that be something? All right, we're going to start at the top here. Hey, everyone, is Ace in the room? Not tonight.
Ace is in the hearts of all those who keep him in their thoughts. That's where he is. You'll find him there.
The Six Flags and Cedar Fair is the biggest thing I've ever seen in the park industry. I think we could all probably say the same. This is just mind-blowing. Would this weekend be a good time to visit the park in terms of crowds? If you're talking about Great Adventure, I don't know.
Probably the best weekend to go, honestly.
Probably a pretty good weekend to go. It's going to be a little chilly. Not like terribly cold. So probably crowds will be medium. I mean, I don't think they're open on a weekday for a while until like Holiday in the Park starts. Sammy, is that true?
Wait, say that again?
They're not open on any weekdays, including Fridays, until Holiday in the Park.
We're definitely open Fridays at some point.
Well, I wish I could tell you for sure, but the calendar on the
I don't know
website
if
is
you
a
wanna
little
look at the
wonky.
app right now.
So if you guys do happen to see like a random day where the park is open in the middle of the week, it's probably not open. It's probably just a glitch with the app that they've been trying to fix for a while. So just know that.
I've figured out what we were talking about. Colin, you were right. It says October 2nd, 2019, Six Flags approached Cedar Fair with an acquisition offer. So there's probably been rumblings of talks since then, but I doubt that this was all put together in the last week.
Yeah, and that too, that was Six Flags buying them, not a merger. Like this is a fully equal merger. They're coming together almost 50-50. So
yeah.
Let's see.
I'll be there. I'll be at Great Adventure this weekend.
Are you going tomorrow?
I have work tomorrow.
Oh,
Let us know if you see Snoopy at Great Adventure.
Yeah, maybe we'll start seeing Snoopy soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we'll see Marcy. That would be fun.
Or you know, I love Snoopy because he makes this his instead of him barking, he makes funny noise that goes blah,
Bob, you have an impression of Marcy?
Not yet. It's not appropriate at all.
Marcy.
Tom and I had way too much fun watching parody videos.
Let's
If you
see.
know, you know.
Which Six Flags parks will they favor alongside Cedar Point, Kings Island, Carowinds, Canada's Wonderland, Great Adventure, Magic Mountain, Fiesta, Texas, probably Great America, and then it'll go from there. But I think the big three will be Fiesta, Great Adventure, and Magic Mountain.
I think you have a big 5 now. Throw Cedar Point into that top 5 parks. So to
I would
speak.
say if we're ranking all of them, I'd say Cedar Point is still top dog. Then Great Adventure, Magic Mountain, then Kings Island, then Fiesta, then Carowinds, and it kind of goes from there.
Right.
Knott's is kind of its own thing. Knott's doesn't really count.
Well, Canada's Wonderland's got to make a ton of money because they're packed every flipping day.
Yeah, they don't even have to do anything there.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think Six Flags will get higher quality parks. We talked about that earlier. I don't know. I mean, it really depends on what direction they go in. Wonder if Dominator will get renamed back to Batman Night Flight. I hope not.
I have a strong theory that the Bat at Kings Island will become the Batman.
Bacon Chris, how do you feel about the merger from an antitrust standpoint? How would you align political? All right, we're not going into politics.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
we
do
don't
think-
talk about politics on my channel.
I do think that there's going to be issues. There's going to be pushback legally about this. I know a lot of people seem to brush that off, but I don't think people are realizing just how significant this deal is. And as I'm saying this,
Wait, Colin.
get it ready, Tom. Thank you,
I've had
Jack.
it ready the whole
For the
time.
super chat. Someone tell Sammy to check his phone. Sammy,
Oh,
check.
Sammy, check your phone.
What am
Let's
I
see,
checking
where
for?
were we?
I don't know.
Thank you, Zach.
Check. Where am I checking my phone? You really paid $2 for me to check my phone?
Does this
I mean,
make you all nervous?
Yeah, you could have
or
just put
happy
it in the
slash
chat. We would have
excited?
told them anyways.
I'd say a little Instagram, he said. I'd say a little bit of both.
Sammy,
I'm
what's the
nervous
what's new?
because I know that our glorious Diamond Elite VIPs are not going to last much longer. I don't think you're able to get your Diamond Elite VIP, have that get you into Cedar Point. I don't think we're going to see that happen. But I'm excited because the theme park industry hasn't seen much change in a while. And to see everything we know about the industry completely flipped on its head with this merger is exciting. It's intriguing. It's one of the most crazy events I've ever seen happen. And I'm sure it's just going to get crazier. What are your top 3 bucket list parks? Well, I've already gone to most of my bucket list parks. I'll do U.S. only. I'd say Great America, meaning Six Flags Great America. Lagoon is up there. And Wonderland. I know it's not America, but definitely want to get there at some point. What do you guys have?
Are we
What's
staying
your
North
top
American?
bucket list
Are
park?
we staying North American?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Screw it.
Okay,
Go
so
park.
I've been to a ton of parks at this point. So yeah, Lagoon's got to be one. Probably like Silverwood. Trying to think what like the big parks I haven't been to still. Those two, and then probably Laron, just because I have to get there at some point.
Well, no one else has anything to add. We're gonna keep going because we have a
You're
lot
up,
to get
Jack.
through.
I thought we were going in order. I have my 3.
Go quick.
Well, okay, my
All right,
3.
it's
Someone go.
I've never
Silver
been
Dollar
to-
City, Great America, Fiesta, Texas. Go ahead, someone else.
I've still yet to
Okay,
go to Dollywood.
Six Flags Magic Mountain, Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, and I will have to go with
Come on, Bacon Chris.
Knott's Berry Farm.
Not
Awesome
fast
Pick.
enough.
Good,
Tom.
good picks.
Tom.
Great America, Dollywood, and over Texas. Why not? Really, all of Texas.
Jack.
Dollywood and Fiesta, Texas, and Silver Dollar City.
All right. The idea of Six Flags Kings Dominion is cursed. Yes, it is.
Six Dominion.
Will SeaWorld parks compete with Cedar Flags? Absolutely. I think if I was SeaWorld right now, I'd be scared. I'd be very scared.
No, they're just going to add more B&Ms in response.
Pretty much.
What if
Spend-
Universal and Disney merged?
That will never happen.
That'd be
We
crazy.
can build a big.
Although
a
we
big-
also said Six Flags and Cedar Fair would never merge, but
yeah.
Here we are.
I mean,
Yeah,
Disney
we
and Universal merged a little bit, but the only thing that Disney merged with Universal is that they bought Marvel, since Universal already has Marvel at the park.
well, that's a licensing agreement. It's a little different.
Yeah. They I
What
guess
coaster or Great Adventure do you think Cedar Fair would want to take down next? Skull Mountain.
yeah.
It'd be quite the undertaking, though.
Just knock it down.
Green Lantern.
Let's see. Bless
Bless
you.
you.
Thank you.
Maybe Black Harley Quinn Crazy Train. 'cause
Is
that's
Fright
my
Fest good compared to Halloween Haunt? I've only been to Dorney's Halloween Haunt and Great Adventures Fright Fest, and I personally prefer Dorney's Halloween Haunt to Fright Fest. So there you go. Cedar Fair does in fact own Dorney Park. I guess now Six Flags owns Dorney Park. Question for Sammy: what are your thoughts on the return of OG Fortnite?
I re-downloaded as of today. This is the first day in like a year and a half that I think I've been playing.
Me too.
And honestly, it's not bad.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's fun.
What
was that? Wait, what did Jax directly ask that to me?
Do you think recording on rides will change somehow? No.
Neither
both
is
This new company has the possibility to do the funniest thing by bringing back Mr. Six. That would be something else.
yeah.
We should. That'd be
They
crazy.
should have Mr. Six at Cedar Point.
Maybe Bacon Chris should be Mr. Six for a day.
Oh yeah, Bacon Chris, you could dress up as Mr. Six with the glasses.
And you could dance around and sing like Mr. Six used to.
Yeah.
Basically, that song was actually called "We Like to Party" by Venga
By
Boys.
the Venga Boys,
He
yep.
doesn't really
Yeah.
sing; he just dances.
Yeah. Well, you could do either one.
You could dance if you wanted.
Yeah. You could leave your friends behind.
What is
Thank
Sammy
you, Jack.
thinking of? Question for everyone but Sammy. What is Sammy thinking of? Sammy, he's probably thinking about his next paycheck.
Probably
He's
thinking
probably
about
about his next paycheck.
Marshall
Probably
Ball
thinking
soon.
about El Toro.
He's thinking about what fabricated piece of information he's going to say some heavy set guy in maintenance told him.
He's probably
There you
thinking
go.
about Project Prox and how many more social media posts he can milk out of it.
Yeah.
I've only milked like 5 so far.
Yeah.
Hasn't been
Literally,
that much.
I helped Sammy build these roller coasters, and I still have no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, this is true.
I helped Sammy market it and get him on the news, and I still have no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Sadly, I didn't ride the Shadow Stalker.
It's unfortunate.
That.
that's a good coaster.
Well,
Next
how
up,
about we
I
make-
saw Sammy on October 24th, and I was scared to say hi because I didn't want to get him mad. What is your opinion on fans saying hi, Sammy?
Oh, I don't really care, but like, if I'm in a bad mood because I'm like, someone brought their phone out or something, it's not because of you. I'm just in a bad mood in general. So if I looked like I was in a bad mood, it's not you. It's just someone being an idiot.
I feel that. Like, a lot of times, and like I've always said in the videos, I highly encourage you guys, if you see me, come say hi. I'll be glad to talk to you for a minute. But, like, if I say I just dealt with something that really pissed me off, and then I turn around and...
Which is about 98% of the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I come off as, mad or anything, it's not you, of course. Do you see Cedar Fair parks using the DC or Looney Tunes IPs? Not really. Not that much. I've been dreaming of a Magic Mountain B&M Giga for many years. It could happen now. I don't know if it'd be a B&M Giga. We'll see.
Maybe an Intimate Giga.
Great Adventure may get a Giga in 2025. I don't know about that. Let's see. What is your credit count? Mine is 380. Bob?
$499. Top Thrill 2 is going to be $500, hopefully.
Jack?
230.
Bacon Chris?
114. But I'll be at 115 this year in December when I go to Storybook Land to ride Bubbles the Coaster.
Very nice. Sammy?
Fury.
No.
What?
What's your credit count?
Yeah, Fury. 325.
Ah.
Yeah. Someone didn't pick up on that.
Tom?
222. My OCD loves it.
Everyone, drop your coaster counts in the comment section or the live chat.
Chris says 244. Not this
Congratulations, Chris. You're almost at 250.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've read from the presentation that Six Flags is not renaming the Cedar Fair parks. That is correct. For now. Let's see. 2003's The Cat in the Hat is a cinematic masterpiece. Would you agree,
Yes, it
Bacon, Chris?
is.
I don't know how that pertains to Six Flags and Cedar Fair.
I think we were talking about Universal, so that's probably where that came up.
Oh
Is
yeah.
that,
Right.
is that the Mike Myers one?
Yes.
Yeah.
the-
I
the
mean,
classic.
I think Illumination will probably make that film.
I'm pretty sure they're not allowed to make any more Dr. Seuss movies.
Well, not live action is what they're doing, but that was before they stopped making live action Grinch. Now, and then in 2012 we got the Lorax, and then they got the Grinch in 2018. Both Grinch movies had two of the best Cedar Point, were both the same years that Cedar Point had two of the best coasters released.
Chris, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Wait,
We
that's
gotta
a
keep
great
moving 'cause we have a lot in the
conspiracy.
chat.
Yeah.
That's a great conspiracy theory, actually.
Ace
Because, you
Studio
know,
says
The Grinch by Jim Carrey was released in 2000, which bring out Millennium Force. The Illumination Grinch came out. It was called The Grinch. Came out in 2018, and that's when Steel Vengeance came out.
So what you're saying is we need the Grinch again
For
to
another
bring us like I guess now if it's all the same company, we need the Magic Mountain Giga, and to get to that we need a Grinch movie.
Yeah.
all right, enough of these stupid conspiracies. Will we see Justice League battle for Boo Blasters? No, definitely not.
Actually,
One
gonna be
thing
Justice
I would
League
love
battle.
to see would be to see all the Justice League rides get a high scoreboard, kind of like what Cup Fusion has at Hershey, where outside the ride there's a scoreboard displayed of all the top scorers for the day with your picture there and everything, or all-time top scorers. Because, I would
You
like
got
to
to
see
know what
that
you're working
for obvious
towards.
reasons. Yeah.
Alan just likes to brag about his Justice League score.
I mean, I'm the best at Justice League. There's no debating that.
You're not even Mr. Justice League, bro.
I don't need to be.
Where is Mr. Justice League?
I don't know. He hasn't been on stream in a while.
I think he disappeared. I don't know. He's
Very
like
well
a
could.
background character now.
Yeah.
Let's see. People have the same fears about Knott's under Cedar Fair, but they've done a great job restoring Ghost Town, which was falling apart before. That's actually a good point. Although this is, of course, on a much bigger scale, but still similar. Think Cedar Fair will get the new photo/video equipment that Six Flags is using? I don't see why not.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I think a lot of
highlighted-
parks will adopt it now.
They highlighted that they like the technology that Six Flags is using. 1,000%.
Also, the Cedar Fair technology is exactly the same as Six Flags' old system. So, like, Cedar Fair's system is a little dated.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. That's what they're gonna do.
Let's see. I'm concerned this means Cedar Fair parks will now be a part of Six Flags ride rotation program. That hasn't been a thing for decades, so I don't think you have anything to worry about there.
Yeah.
They need to bring back the 3D glasses for I might be in the minority. I prefer Justice League without 3D glasses. I think it's a lot easier and better without the 3D.
Yeah, sometimes 3D can give you headaches. So
That too.
Yeah.
and
I agree with Bacon.
you'll still feel like you're in the Justice League universe without the glasses.
Yeah. Let's see. I think the merge will have more positive than negatives. Honestly, I think it's too early to say. We don't really know how much is going to change at the park level. So, Tom, alert.
Yes. Oh, of course. Hold on. Yes. There you go.
Thank you again, Zach, for the super chat. This is to contribute to your future 27 park pass. Well, I appreciate that. I'm sure it'll be needed. It'll probably be like $600.
Yeah.
It will be very expensive.
Where were we? We were somewhere. We did that one. I'm just trying to find where I am in the chat. Here we are. Like I said, a little too early to tell right now for sure. Right now, I am seeing more positives, but we'll see. Did I miss anything important? Tons of stuff. Can we play one of the games like we did last time? Not tonight. We don't really have enough time for it, but on a night where there's not such a big topic to discuss, we could probably pull that together. Let's see. I wonder what they're going to do with Over Texas and Over Georgia since they aren't 100. Aren't the ones that aren't owned by Six Flags, Darien Lake and Frontier City? They're just managed by Six Flags.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they own over Texas and over Georgia.
They definitely own over Texas and over Georgia.
Maybe they don't own the land.
I don't know, but those are the original 2 Six Flags parks.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I would think that they would own them, but
Right.
I wonder what they'll do with their Six Flags corporate offices. Will they just?
They're going
Yeah.
to
They're
move
moving
to
to
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Yeah, they're moving to Charlotte.
No, I'm just talking about like the physical offices. They'll just shut them
Well,
down.
the
Oh, I
physical office is literally inside the old Ranger Stadium, so
Oh.
I'm sure they'll find someone to take it.
Yeah.
That won't be hard then.
What was that?
I said that won't be hard to find someone to take that.
No. Let's see. No, it does not. Think we'll be able to get an interview with the new CEO, Tom? Thank you, Kaylee, for the super chat. Tom, you're muted.
Oh, whoops. Here we go.
There we go. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. And yeah, we're trying to give as much as we can. Lots of stuff to divulge, like I said. I mean, it's pretty mind-blowing just how much there is to think about from just this one thing happening. Like we were saying, obviously I've been able to establish a great relationship with everyone at Six Flags Corporate, especially Salim, and I guarantee that I'll be doing another interview. Well, I'd almost guarantee that I'll be doing another interview with Salim next year. So hopefully, I think it'd be cool if we could do an interview with Salim and Rich from Cedar Fair, well, the new Six Flags, and get both of their perspectives. So we'll just have to wait and see as time goes on. But I would definitely like to do an interview with both of them.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
That's a good idea, Colin.
Let's see. I have a question for Sammy. I was the one in the El Toro costume on Monday. I saw you getting on Nitro. Do you remember me?
I'll be real with you, I do not. I didn't know we had El Toro costumes. Is that a thing we own? Do we
I
own
don't
El
even know
Toro?
what
made
an
an
El
El
Toro
Toro
costume would
costume.
entail.
I don't think we have an El Toro costume.
Maybe you dressed up like a bull? I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't even remember. I was. Oh wait, what was this Monday? Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
I
coaster
don't-
operator. Oh, no, this is a different person. For Halloween, I was a coaster ride operator. That's a good costume.
I'm a coaster ride operator every day.
We talked about this earlier. I don't think the next couple years will change, but later on stuff definitely will. Carowinds and over Georgia will both be the experimental parks. I guess you're saying that based off of the corporate headquarters location, so that's good thinking. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that, honestly, because over Georgia has definitely been a bit of a prototype park lately for the new Six Flags leadership, as well as Fiesta Texas, of course. So I guess we'll see how that pans out. Bob, your home parks, both of your home parks, are now part of Six Flags. How odd is that? You went from
it feels
one
so
mega Six Flags to no Six Flags to two big Six Flags.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling after having Worlds of Adventure being this, growing up at Jogga Lake, and then all of a sudden Six Flags buys it and turns it into this monstrosity, and then 7 years later or whatever, it's gone, and then it's a very weird feeling. I don't
What
even know.
a journey.
Yeah, it's
A lot of lore to Bob.
Yeah.
DK photo lore.
I hope they get rid of IROC because the maintenance at Knott's is terrible at Montezuma and Accelerator closing for nearly 2 years. Montezuma is not IROC's fault at all. That's the manufacturer who Knott's and Cedar Fair hired to redo Montezuma. Honestly, I really hope they don't just have to scrap the ride because I still never got to ride it. Got screwed out of that. It's just
very good.
unfortunate. What's
Or
been
it
going on.
was.
That ride was a lot of fun. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
Looked like it.
Did you ride Jaguar?
Yes.
Yeah, I rode Jaguar.
I rode Jaguar and it went through nothing because the loop track is not there anymore.
I mean, it's just a
Oh,
boring,
that's so sad.
just a boring layout, I mean, it's just a big coaster, It's not a specific model, like inverted, floorless, hyper,
Right.
stuff, and then
Well,
Yeah.
with Accelerator, that's just a whole nother can of worms. That's probably why. Well, that is why Cedar Fair won't work with Intamin. I am curious if they're going to drop that once they become the new Six Flags, because Six Flags currently is more than happy to work with Intamin. So that's going to be an
Hopefully not
interesting
petty,
thing.
either
to
of
see.
them.
What?
If both of them are petty, we're not working with anyone, and we're just not going to get anything.
Yeah, that's
So
always a
I don't
possibility.
think they can. I think they have to just kind of brush it to the side and do what they have to do.
Let's see. What coaster / flat ride could fit in the space of the arena when it's completely demoed? A giant multi-launch coaster, a giga coaster, a tilt coaster. Anything could fit there. lot of
GCI, perhaps.
But I'm liking the sound of a multi-launch.
A Velocicoaster sounds really good there.
Or Gotham City Escape.
That'd be pretty cool.
Will
I
there
heard
be a
Gotham
Hollywood
City
Studios
Escape.
meetup day at 6 Great Adventure during Holiday in the Park? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Hollywood Studios, the extravaganza day, right? Or what is it? Hollywood
Yeah,
Studios.
because they don't do Pinpalooza anymore. We got to do our own event.
Oh, that's right. Pinpalooza.
Well, I'm going to Great Adventure this Sunday, so if you guys want to meet up, be my guest.
Are we
Yeah,
working
you can have
at?
a big
Are we working?
Bacon Chris meetup.
Yeah, Bacon, Chris, you should host a meetup on Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday, guys.
Yeah, well, I have work
There
on
all
Sunday.
day.
So I won't be
Me
able
too,
to.
unfortunately.
I'm not
I
going
will
to be
be
available
working,
on Sunday,
but you can go say
unfortunately.
hi to me.
Rare Tom works Sundays, but oh.
Yeah. Well, Bacon Chris, I've never met you before, so hopefully before the season ends, we can meet up.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah. Colin's going to be graduating, and for his graduation present, I want to take him to the Funplex in Mount Laurel so that he can.
Do that, Colin?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
The
we
main
can have
reason
a-
why is to earn a coaster credit, which is the Fun Coaster.
Yeah, I
Oh,
still haven't been there somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I live in Philly. I mean, Tom, lives not far from there, and he still never rode it.
I've ridden Fun Coaster
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah, you got to earn that credit.
Of course.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next up, not November 9th.
Sorry, there's
Yeah,
not a
so-
super chat. The Devils just scored.
Oh, we have a super chat?
No, the
No,
Devils.
I was saying we have a Devils goal, and so I played the Devils goal horn instead.
Oh.
Carry on.
So, yeah, November 9th and 10th, New Jersey schools are off, or at least my school is, for the NJEA convention. I don't think the park is open, is it?
Is November 9th a Thursday? Because if that's the case, according to the website, they're open 11 to 7, and I will be going.
I don't know if that's true because the website's been wonky lately. Let's
Website
find
says
out.
they're open 11 to 7, I think, both those days.
Does it say it on both versions of the calendar?
I only looked on the desktop that I'm on right now.
I couldn't tell. I'm not scheduled for those days. So I couldn't even
They're
tell you.
open. They're saying parks open whole weekend, the 9th through the 12th, which is that Thursday through Sunday. Park open 11 to 7, Safari 10 to 3, which it's also your last chance to drive through the Safari. You might want to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Safari
that as
closes
well.
on November 26th.
Forever.
And Great Adventure will be open on Fridays starting the 10th. So not this Friday, but next Friday they're open, and the 17th and 24th with different hours. 24th is the first day of Holiday in the Park. And Tom, what else is that day?
It's Black Friday, which means you get to go to the stores and watch people fight over stuff. But also, more tertiarily, it's my birthday. And I have
There
a
you
Devils
go.
game. So I will be going to Holiday in the Park the next day.
Tom's given.
Tom's
I have work. Sadly,
giving
I
is
have work
when
on
my birthday's
Black
on
Friday.
Thanksgiving. Last year was Tom's giving.
But if you're a BJ's member, I was going to say they should have SeaWorld gift cards on sale. The $25, which is the original price, $23.99, should be $19.99 because that's what happened last year.
What a steal.
Wow. Next up, the most important question, Tom, who leads the Metro?
It's certainly not the Penguins. I'm gonna say Carolina again. I don't want to be right. I want to say the Devils, but the Rangers just got a ton of injuries, so I think they're gonna drop off a bit.
And that's our daily allotment for Tom's
Yes.
hockey interview. So
Let's go Devils.
next up, I believe St. Louis, America, Darien Lake might be the Parks and Shopping block. St. Louis, I say maybe, but they also just got an investment with Rookie Racer. It's one of the first Six Flags parks as well, so I'm going to say probably not. How long have you all been an enthusiast? I'll let you guys go first. I actually have to think about this.
Enthusiast since 2008. Coaster YouTuber since 2021.
I think I've been an enthusiast for like, I don't know, at least 10 years about.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I mean, I always liked roller coasters, but I never got into it as much as I did till about like 2012, 2013-ish.
I mean, I always liked roller coasters. I think my enthusiasm for them started when I was like 7. It's like 10, 11 years, like that at this point. But I liked them since I was like 3.
I'm gonna say 2006. That's about when I discovered a POV on YouTube of like Batman: The Dark Knight at New England, and I'm like, there's more roller coasters than the ones like that are in town at Great Adventure, and so that is what I will say started it.
See, for me, it's kind of hard to answer. I've had a Great Adventure season pass since 2008 when I was 2. I first rode El Toro in 2013, and that was like eye-opening because that was like the most extreme coaster I'd ever ridden up to that point, and that kind of changed my perspective. I had always played Roller Coaster Tycoon ever since I was a kid. I started doing YouTube in 2014. I did my first true coaster road trip in 2017, so pick whatever date you want and call it that. How do you ask something? The same way you just asked me that. Let's see. What USA park should you get a clone? All right. Well, I don't want a clone of Ride to Happiness. A ride that's the same make and model as Ride to Happiness would be great. At Dollywood, at Cedar Point, at Kings Island.
Well, the perfect park for it's not going to be Cedar Point or Kings Island because of capacity reasons. But if you put it at a Dollywood or something like that, I think that would be perfect.
Yeah. Just wanted to say I appreciate your work. Keep it up. Thank you, Colin. I appreciate it. And you share my name, which makes you awesome. Which coaster has more of a maintenance nightmare, Ka or Toro? Ka. Probably Ka. Project Prox is just a big mystery. I guess it is.
I will not be talking about Project Prox today.
A mystery that still has nothing, no end in sight.
Yeah.
There's no date yet for an announcement. I just want everyone to know that.
I wonder if Sammy even knows what
is. The 14 DMs that are sitting in my request, no, there is not a date yet for an announcement.
Let's see. So this is not true. Dreamworld in Australia had a very similar setup where they had a drop tower attached to their Tower of Terror attraction, which is very similar to Superman at Magic Mountain. And they removed the coaster and kept the tower for the drop tower. So King Ka could close and be removed, and Zumanjaro could stay, and they just keep the top hat structure if they really wanted to. What do you think Great Adventures Project is going to be after Flash? Something in the arena. Whereas Ace, he's not on here tonight.
Ace is in the smile of every child. And
I know he'll be at the park tomorrow. So if you're going to Great Adventure tomorrow, definitely go
big
say
hug.
hi. Yeah, you can ask him for a picture.
He loves his personal space invaded.
He loves hugs.
Maybe Ace will want to come on Sunday.
Send him a message. Maybe he will.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
Loves his fans.
Let's see. The current mid-tier Six Flags parks get larger investments every 2 to 3 years with this merger. I don't know, honestly. I really don't know. I just lost my place in the chat here. Let's see. Do you think Dorney Park will leave because of how close it is to Great Adventure? I could see Dorney getting sold off just because of its proximity to Great Adventure. I don't know that it'll happen. They seem pretty dead set on advertising the whole 42 parks thing, so we'll see.
That's my thought too, but I think Dorney and Great Adventure being in the same market, one of them goes, and I don't think it's Great Adventure because it's in a prime spot between Philly and New York, and there's too much money to lose by selling it.
Definitely. Will this merger affect the manufacturers they plan on working with? It definitely could, or it could have no effect at all. That's the way I look at it. If you guys could add another ride to Great Adventure, what would you theme it to, and where in the park would you put it? I'll let Sammy go first.
I mean, are we including the area, like the arena area, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then I would say that arena area, and I would theme it to some kind of like some kind of like Western Bandits or something like that. I think would be pretty cool, and tie it in with like some like Great Adventure like history stuff, like with like the Runaway Mine Train and everything. I don't know.
I realize it's not the most thrilling thing, but I would love nothing more than a CGI or a GCI. Did I say CGI? Wow.
You said CGI.
Yes, make a CGI coaster. You can't ride it. You can look at it. No. GCI Woody, either in the Golden Kingdom or in the arena spot. Maybe not a Rolling Thunder theme, but I think like hell, give it like an abandoned mine, like Great Adventures Ghost Rider, so to speak. I think that would be a good theme. I think it'd work really well in the arena area. It's probably not what'll go there, but in a perfect world, that's what I would do.
I'm not a Great Adventure guy, but I would combine what you two guys both just said. I would build a GCI back there. If you could build something like Ghost Rider, it'd be incredible. But you build a good GCI with a Western type theme, a Runaway Mine Train, or whatever you want to do with it, kind of thing. Even though you already have that as a name, but you know what I mean. And build it back there, and in that same area.
Maybe a B&M dive coaster, in my opinion.
I think B&M dive coasters are one of the worst major coaster model there is, except for the original ones with the hard over-the-shoulder restraints like Valraven, Emperor. They just really don't do anything for me. I mean, they're cool looking, but their layouts are just blander versions of other B&M models. Their restraints suck. They don't give you what the whole point of the ride is. I've always thought they are really overrated models, and like I'm sure Iron Menace will be fun, but it's definitely not going to be my favorite ride. So personally, I would like to see, just differing from the arena thing Sammy said, I mean, that would be my first choice with a multi-launch or something over there. I would love to see an RMC dueling hybrid, kind of in the vein of Rolling Thunder, go in its spot to properly pay homage to that ride. I know it'd be a little similar to El Toro, but I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to see that? And also a little different, I guess. I think a Kid Flash Cosmic Coaster clone would work really well in an expanded Metropolis area, because the park could definitely use some more family type attractions. The ride looks fun and it looks really good with the lighting, so I don't see any reason for them to not get it. Jack?
I think, I don't know. I don't really have anything different than what everyone said. Like, I would add a ride where the arena is. I think if I could pick, it would be an Intamin Blitz of some sort, but
let's see. Next up, do you think with Cedar Fair people now in the mix that LSMK becomes a possibility? Definitely.
I think it was already in the question. I'm not even.
It's probably already in the thought process. Sammy, 2 weeks ago on Saturday, you were operating Medusa, and I waved to you. Do you remember me?
I do remember you, Coaster Joe. That's all I have to say. I don't know what else there's to say.
Only here for Bacon Chris. I want to know what he thinks of the merger. Bacon Chris, what do you think of the merger?
You mean with the parks combining?
With Cedar Fair and Six Flags.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay. I'm just a bit nervous because they'll lose the benefits of each park. You know.
Chris, what about a merger between Hollywood Studios and Bacon Chris?
That would be something.
Hollywood Adventures.
Baconwood Studios.
Baconwood Studios Adventures.
Yeah, I mean, basically, but it's still good to partner together. Even when I do Bacon Chris Adventures, it's still good to have our own channels too.
Of course.
We all need to make our own money. We all need to, we all need to work too. And it's also good to partner. It's like DreamWorks and Ardent, or Pepsi and Coke. Oh wait, they never work together.
Chris, you should work at Sesame Place. I feel like you'd be good with there.
I love Sesame Place.
You got good impressions.
That was pretty damn good. Wow.
The funniest thing was, I was talking to one of my coworkers at work, and I even said what I was saying to one of my coworkers. I was wearing Air Force Ones at Sesame Place, and I said to one employee that I was wearing them, and I said, Elmo loves Air Force Ones because they make Elmo jump up really high. Plus, Elmo wants to be his famous hero, Joel Embiid. He's really badass. Joel Embiid is my favorite player.
I like Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh, very nice. I mean, LeBron James, Michael Jordan.
We're gonna keep going.
Yes. Keep going.
Let's see.
I know nothing about that.
Iron Menace Dorney shared this a little while ago. I'm excited for it. I think Dorney has been desperately needing a coaster. This is not the first kind of coaster I would have picked, honestly. Like I said, I'm really not a fan of dive coasters, but I'm glad to see them getting something significant.
But
that's
GP Magnet, though.
GP Magnet for sure.
And I think now that they're in the same chain, you don't get a dive coaster Great Adventure.
Yeah. It's true. Let's see.
I think the logo for that looks badass.
Yeah. Have any of you gotten a rollback on King Ka?
No.
Nope.
I didn't get any on Dragster either.
I saw one on Dragster. I was about 5 trains away from it. I was closer to a rollback on Dragster than I was on Ka.
I was next in line on Accelerator at a rollback right after somebody said it never rolls back.
My dad and my brother rode in the back row on the train in front of me of Dragster, and they got a rollback.
I mean, I've gotten a couple on Ka. I saw one on Dragster, but wasn't close to getting it.
Sammy, didn't you say one time you got stuck at the top of Ka?
No, I got a double rollback on Ka.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, 2017. There's a video.
Sammy's the master fibber.
Trust. 2017.
Dorney Park Haunt or Hershey Park Dark Knights. In terms of mazes, I take Dark Knights. In terms of overall, I take Haunt. Hershey Ops weren't as good as Great Adventure Ops, at least when I went in October. Seems like they have a lack of employees. Any thoughts? Great Adventure has some of the best operations in the industry, plain and simple.
I think Hershey actually has really good staffing. Like, Hershey's one of those parks, like, maybe the ops aren't the best, but, like, when you go to Hershey, every ride, for the most part, barring, like, maintenance, is open. They open, like, every merchandise stand, every food stand, and I noticed that more at Hershey than at other places.
Very true. Let's see. I could see a Kid Flash Cosmic Coaster where the arena is. That would piss so many people off. It's not even funny. I don't think there would be a more disappointing event than that happening.
In the history of Great Adventure, like, I don't know, the removal of Rolling Thunder pissed a lot of people off too.
Yeah. Imagine all the hype, all the buildup, just for it to be a Kid Flash coaster in such a prime spot of real estate.
Hey, you might be angry, but would you be surprised?
I would. Actually.
You'd be surprised?
I would.
Knowing the track record of the company.
Yes, I would be surprised. What's up, Jameer? Hope you've been doing well. Welcome to the stream. Colin, will you respect Superman Ultimate Flight? Never. I will never respect Superman Ultimate Flight.
What about the photo?
Unless we're talking about the one at Discovery Kingdom. That one.
Yes, that was very good.
But the other ones, except for Over George's is solid. Great Adventure and presumably Great America? No.
Manta's better.
Do you think Great Adventure will be taken into the direction of a resort park? Absolutely.
They're kind of already there.
Savannah
They're
Sunset
starting.
has kind of put my vision of that in place. I think they were starting to amp the park up, but now that they have an actual hotel sort of thing on the property, I think it's just going to continue to go from there. Probably going to see a hotel on property within the next couple of years, up by where the gas station is.
Just an FYI, guys, we are open next Friday.
We are?
We are open next Friday.
Interesting. Anyways, I think that they're going to try to make Great Adventure a true destination. I think going down the line, I mean, we could see Great Adventure look totally different than what it is now if the plans work out. Brian is someone who I think has a huge vision for the park, and just talking to him all the time, I mean, he has great ideas. So I'm very excited to see what comes next. Colin, you should work a Great Adventure with me and Sammy. If I worked at Great Adventure, for one, I would have to drive upwards of 30 minutes there and then again back every time I went, which isn't always fun. On top of that, I highly doubt that I would be able to say what I say and share what I share on YouTube. If I worked for the company, there'd probably be some issues there. So
You can only share public information. You can't speculate.
Exactly, which I cover a lot of rumors, so that wouldn't work. We are going to stop accepting questions very soon, so send them in real quick because we are going to start winding down.
Yeah, I'd like to go to bed at a reasonable time tonight.
Me too.
Yeah. The boss at St. Louis will be called Iron Boss. I hope they don't call it Iron Boss.
Steel Boss, Twisted Boss,
Big Boss.
Wicked Boss.
I like Big Boss.
Big Boss.
Big Boss.
If El Toro got RMC'd, hopefully it won't. What do you guys think of the name El Toro Loco?
No.
Interesting.
Just call it
Better
El
not get
Toro.
RMC'd, though.
Better not get RMC'd. I'm not even going to say what I'll do.
Oh, I mean, that's where you go Twisted Toro, right?
Right.
No,
I do
because
like
it's
the sound of
Spanish.
Well, what's twisted in Spanish? Let's find out.
Hey, Siri, what does twisted in Spanish mean?
I was going to just go on Google Translate, but I guess that's one way. of doing
Alexa.
it.
Nope, she ain't working. I had a power outage last night.
It's rhetoric. Hold on. Did you hear that?
Nope.
You're going to hear it now. Redorcido.
That's too much.
So wouldn't really work in Spanish. Let's see. I'm gonna skip past some of that. If they have to get rid of the DC/Looney Tunes and Peanuts, which one would they get rid of? Neither, because they're not going to have to get rid of them.
But
if it
they
was
did-
me, though,
They had
I would
But if they
keep
had
DC
to,
and keep Peanuts
gotta answer
and
the
drop
question.
Looney Tunes, personally. Looney Tunes are very outdated at this point. Kid Flash looks really cool, not gonna lie. I agree. I think it looks great in terms of appearance. Let's see. If you could remove one ride from the park, what would it be and why? If we're talking coaster, I would probably take out Superman. I just don't like that ride. If we're talking flat ride, I don't know, honestly. I really don't.
Speaking of Superman, we should talk for a second about Superman and Green Lantern closing this weekend.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did even mention
Yeah,
that in our little group
wait
chat.
a second.
So, for those of you who are unaware, Green Lantern and Superman and the whole Boardwalk section obviously will not be operational for Holiday in the Park, which should kind of give you the hint that there is stuff happening in the Boardwalk, like the possible removal of Twister, like I've mentioned in the past. Again, nothing's confirmed until the park announces it, but if you're going this weekend, I would highly recommend riding Twister if it's open because it might be your last. Also going to be our last time seeing the parachutes the way they are. Lots of interesting stuff there. I do think it's great. I think the park knows that El Toro and King of the Ka are as beloved as they are. They're pushing them as far as they can into the season before closing them. Last year, they were done after Fright Fest. This year, they're going to be open right up until Holiday in the Park. So I'm really happy to see that. No word on Medusa, Mine Train, or Skyway yet, which I think is kind of odd. I'm going to try to find out some more information, but we'll see what
Does
happens.
anyone else remember? I think it was 2020 where it was rumored that Mine Train and Medusa would operate for Holiday in the Park.
Probably
Yes.
next
So
year.
I wonder if that's the change. Like Green Lantern and Superman out, Mine Train, Medusa in. Could
I
be
doubt
possibly.
I work Medusa. They're moving me to Nitro for the holiday.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Because I really think the only thing screwing Medusa out of being in Holiday in the Park is where it's located
Probably
in the park.
next year when they have more of the park going. This is a very in-between year that they're having.
Well, I imagine that the arena project will halt that idea for next
That
year.
too.
Because I'm also like I've heard that there's a possibility that the pathway from like where's like on Dream Street to Cyborg, that pathway might be closed for Flash construction.
I wouldn't
Makes
be
sense.
surprised.
But
Yeah.
yes,
I
if
wonder-
you are a fan of mediocre rides, get on Superman and Green Lantern while they're still open.
I bet Flash will be open during Holiday in the Park next season. Just
Oh,
because of its
1,000%.
Yeah.
That's definitely a Holiday in the Park ride. I'm still cracking up about how someone said that Sammy's forehead is as big as King Daka's drop. That's a good one.
Was that in the chat?
That was from a past stream.
Oh, LOL.
Any future plans to visit IAPA? School tends to get in the way, and school's very high priority for me. I can't really afford to miss that many days of school for IAPA, so it'll just have to happen at some point down the line. Of course, there's going to be college, which complicates it too, so we'll see. I'll get there eventually. I know Sammy's going, though, so have
I
fun.
will
Yes.
be there this year.
Some people think school is less
Have fun
important.
missing a week of school.
No, I got all the days excused for it.
Still a lot of work to catch up on.
I think IAPA is going to show Iron Menace trains, the Top Thrill 2 train, maybe the
Falcon
Flash.
Flight.
I have the list somewhere, so I don't feel like pulling it up right now.
Next up, is the American Coaster Enthusiast Group worth it? I'd say yes if you're interested in the events. It depends on where you're at, honestly. Like New Jersey, the best event you get is going to be Seaside Screams and Seaside Hangover. There's not really anything at Great Adventure anymore. And other than that, there's not too much, but it's a good group for coaster enthusiasts. I'm going to put the line in the chat now for no more questions. I did now.
Right.
We're almost there anyway. Let's see. Sammy, what about Thursday the 9th? We said that it's going to be open.
I have no idea. I haven't heard yet. I'm waiting to hear.
Was anyone at Great Adventure when it hit capacity?
Hell no. I drove.
Absolutely not.
I was a town over doing something else and drove the opposite way. And the line, if you're familiar of like the road leading up to Great Adventure, the line to get into the park was like on 195. Like it was dead stop traffic from the 195 exit all the way to the park.
And I would imagine on 537, Tom, how far down did it go? Did it go past the Jackson Outlets light?
Well, yes, because that's where like Jackson
Outlets
right,
light,
yeah, forks off like
Trenton Lakewood. I think that road is right.
I know,
it was a little past. I was about to say Java Moon. I don't think you guys know what that is. There was this little restaurant at that intersection. It used to be there, but it was about to that intersection near where the truck place is.
One of my coworkers got there at 4, didn't get into the park till 6:15.
And they probably docked him attendance points too.
They actually did not because. It was
that's nice of them.
I know, right?
It's a different place, I guess now.
I thought they were going to.
Yeah, 537 is not built to handle that. Plain and simple. Especially that horrible 195 bridge.
Yes.
What's the best B&M flying coaster? It's Tatsu. There's no question.
Indeed.
Baby Flying Dinosaur, but none of us are.
Technically FLY.
Favorite.
Well, yeah, but that's not a B&M.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think Brian, as well as other park presidents, will stay in their position? I think so.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean Brian already. I think Sammy said like Brian is already now like the regional.
Rep. He watches over America. So I don't think he's president, but he like watches over everything that happens because they just have a GM. They don't have a president.
Right. Let's see. I think we're going to stop it right there, actually, because it looks like there's not really any more questions. So we're going to cut it off there. I know it was a packed stream with a lot of really good topics and things to discuss. Hope you guys enjoyed, and please let me know what you guys think about the merger because it's absolutely astronomical news. Guys, we're going to start with Bob and end with Tom. Plug your Instagrams or your YouTubes or whatever just to say goodbye, starting with Bob.
BK photo page on pretty much everything.
And go buy Bob's calendar.
Yeah, it's I keep posting the links online. It's a little bit more expensive this year, but it's because I'm not doing it myself. But
Use code Collywood, you'll get a 10% discount.
Yeah, buy my calendar. If you need the link, shoot me a DM.
Jack, Theme Park 655. I think the last time I posted was like a year ago. So feel free to follow me if you want to look at my old posts.
Bacon Chris, you can follow me on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, and I'm now on TikTok at bacon_Chris.
Built a Thrill, you know me. Go check out Project Prox. Try to figure out what it is because I don't even think Jack knows.
And follow me on Instagram at toms_tracks99.
With that being said, guys, that is going to conclude this stream. If you enjoyed, be sure to subscribe to Collywood Studios, like the video, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon to Collywood Studios. Have a good night, guys.